Picture this. It's a cold autumn night. The winds howl against the rattling windows, and the streetlights flicker ominously. On the other side of town, far from the noise of the bustling city, lies an old Victorian manor. But this isn't any ordinary house. It's known as the Dawson Estate, steeped in tragedy and whispered shadows. Our story today revolves around Simon Vickerman, a forensic historian. Simon never believed in the supernatural. To him, every ghost story was just some elaborate fabrication, a misinterpretation of echoing sounds or temperature drops. His primary task: unravel mysteries, not weave them. One dreary morning, Simon receives a peculiar letter in the mail. The handwriting on the envelope is shakily precise. As he opens it, dust falls from the aged paper. It's an invitation to the Dawson Estate. The words are stark. "Mr. Vickerman, your expertise is required. The shadow persists. Discover the truth." Signed, simply, The Keeper. Simon's curiosity overrides his skepticism. Arriving at the estate, the sheer size and disrepair of the place strike him. The front steps groan under his weight. The front door swings open with a deep, foreboding creak. The Keeper, an elderly man with watery eyes and thin fingers, meets him. He speaks in whispered tones, laced with genuine fear. "There's a shadow," the Keeper says, leading Simon to a large oak door at the end of a long corridor. "It appears every night when the clock strikes 12. No matter where we are in the house, it's always here, but no one dare open the door." The Keeper's voice falters with the word "no one." Simon spends his time walking through dusty rooms and decaying hallways, a flashlight in hand. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant moan of the wind makes his heart pound ever so slightly faster. And always, he senses it, the shadow, an intangible heaviness, an unseen presence. When midnight approaches, Simon decides to break the rules. He sits in front of the oak door with his flashlight and his recorder. His breathing is shallow, hands trembling but resolute. Just as the clock chimes its first shrill note, it happens. The temperature around him plummets. His flashlight flickers wildly, casting wild arcs of light across the narrow space. And as the clock tolls 12 in its daunting finality, there it is, a shadow bigger than any object in the hallway should cast. It's at once amorphous and vividly present. It doesn't stretch from the light. It originates, and then it moves. Simon feels a guttural instinct to flee, but he remains. He steels his nerves and braces his trembling hands. He takes a step forward and reaches out, as if trying to touch darkness itself. Before he can make contact, a sound reverberates down the hallway, a low, agonized wail. The shadow twists and contorts violently, retreating back toward the door. Simon's breath quickens, but his professional resolve kicks in. "Why are you here?" Simon calls out to the shadow, his voice surprisingly firm, yet quivering. The wailing subsides, but is replaced with a chilling whisper. "Not the door. Open not the door. To know me is to join me." The dissonance in the voice, like multiple people speaking at once, sends shivers deep into Simon's bones. He steps back, afraid. The Keeper arrives just then, holding a candle that briefly disperses the overwhelming shadow. "Remember," the Keeper warns, "to open the door is to unchain the past." Simon stumbles away as he processes these chilling words. Who or what is behind the door? And does anyone really want to know? The series of shadows and the haunting phrases linger in Simon's mind, but for now he realizes even skeptics sometimes need to walk away untouched by the unknowable. As Simon exits the estate, the shadow appears briefly in the arched doorway one final time. Its whispered warning trails him. Curiosity opens the void. He returns to his daily work, but the haunting silhouette, well, it's never far from his thoughts. And as he lays down each night under the flicker of his bedside lamp, he watches closely to see if the shadows in his own home behave as they should. Now, what would you have done? Would you have opened the door? Or would the presence of the shadow be warning enough to let sleeping horrors lie? One thing is certain: some mysteries might be better left unsolved.